Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
OGUPs tonight, Dan.
We are running OG.
That's right.
Tonight. Yep.
Chris and Dan, we are the Uncle Puckers. Bobby and Tony, we gave them the night off. We figured they were complaining they hadn't had much alone time lately. So we figured, you know what, you guys.
It's time to reconnect.
Exactly. So they're off. I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, you got me and Dan tonight. So what's up, Dan?
What is up? And, it makes me think that since they're not here, this is close to a year since we started doing this, right? I mean, when did we start? Game 3, I think, last year?
I think it was around there.
I think we missed the first 2, and I think we might even tried to set up a show for one of it, maybe ended up talking into a speaking spell by accident or something and not even using a computer or some mistake.
We definitely did have some road bumps in the beginning, no doubt.
Technical difficulties. Yeah.
This is actually episode 101. As you can see, all the fanfare of the 100th episode we did Tuesday. We didn't even mention it.
No idea. No, I had no idea. And these are numbered. We should have noticed that.
Yeah, no. But this is episode 101.
Wow.
And so we've been doing it all right. And I think we have, tripled our listenership. We're up to 3 now, which is
that's
awesome.
Pretty good. I mean, that's 300% growth.
And
by Mom, Dad, thank you very much.
By next year, we get my sisters and your brothers to start listening.
Yeah.
We might get 12, 13 people possibly. So what do you want to talk about tonight, Dan? We got a game against the Rangers that we got to discuss. There's a couple of things going on with that I want to talk about. But what do you got?
Yeah. Well, I did want to bring up, we did get an email. And this is nice. It's lovely to get emails from fans. This is from one Garrett V, we'll call him.
Hi, Garrett.
That is his name, Garrett V, yeah. And he says, hey, Puckers, random fun question for you. If you could pick a new location for a new fancy stadium for the Devils, and it could be anywhere in the state except Newark or the Meadowlands, right? Okay. Where would you put it? And then he gives his suggestion. I'm thinking Asbury Park. Give me a reason to hang out there year round. But what do you guys think? So, yeah.
It's definitely a good question because I'll be honest with you. As much as I like the stadium, I hate that it's in Newark. Now, I hated the old stadium, but I actually liked that there was a parking lot. I wasn't a fan of it being in the swamps of the Meadowlands. But
I mean, do you miss anything about that old building except for the parking lot experience? I can't think of anything. Seats. Okay. All right. I had kind of forgotten about that.
That's about it. And now the new arena is really nice, but Garrett brings up actually Asbury is not a terrible idea.
Right.
I do think having a stadium in Asbury would be awesome because Asbury has kind of gotten through, the gentrification over the last decade. There is a lot of new businesses there. Cookman Avenue is a lot of fun, a lot of cool restaurants and bars. I don't know where you put the stadium. Maybe you tear down, the old casino or whatever, and you put it there.
Oh, no, you can't tear down those old – they got 3 old buildings. Anybody who's been to Asbury Park knows they got 3 really old buildings, right? There's the casino, the arcade, the carousel.
Yeah.
And I think one of them closed right now where you used to be able to walk through this demolished old building that is barely standing, and now it's so unsafe you have to walk around it. But it is so cool. It's old. It's right next to that steam plant place.
Yeah, that's the casino,
that's like history.
right?
I can't get rid of that shit. Could you build in it or around it or near it?
What about Convention Hall? Convention Hall's a shit show.
Right,
it really is.
Yeah.
Why can't we tear that down?
That is also an old building. That's completely closed. Been closed for a long time as far as I know. Yeah, but even then, okay, let's talk about that. Geography along the shore. Now, first of all, I don't think there's any NHL stadiums that are that close. There's some near the rivers, right? I guess we got what, Pittsburgh, you got
Yeah, I
right,
think
kind of right
Pittsburgh
there.
plays near right by the river.
Right. And I'm sure there's a few others, but that close to be literally within a stone's throw of the ocean, that's like really close.
Yeah, after Hurricane Sandy, I would think that's probably a terrible idea now.
And then the parking, man, I'm worried about that. I feel like if you're going to go to Asbury, if you're going to commit to it, you're coming inland. You're coming inland a few blocks, maybe several blocks.
Yeah.
At least for the parking experience. I mean, you got that whole Stone Pony area that's 1 block off.
That's only 1 block, though.
Right, and there's like limited parking there.
And where would you even put the stadium? That is one thing. Now, I do like the idea. Now, I love the idea of it being more central Jersey as opposed to northern Jersey.
Absolutely, right? There's a central Jersey. It's a thing now. People are finally acknowledge that there is a central Jersey.
And I think it would be awesome to be able to, make the people the Devil fans from up north actually have to drive. Like, we're always the ones fucking commuting.
Right.
Make them
There's
come
been
down.
a reason for that. There's been more of them. But on the other hand, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy because if you live in Bloomfield, how far is it to get to, the stadium versus if you live down in Waretown, right? But, if you build it, will they come is the question, right? And
the train does roll right through Asbury, so that's Asbury would be Asbury. I like the location of Asbury. Logistically, does it work? Probably not. Like as far as it just being a central location,
but like for the sake of argument, just getting it in a central location, I'm with you, right? It'd be cool.
But where else would you go?
Okay, yeah, that is a tough call, and I kind of remember thinking about this and. As far as like having space and being central, could we go to somewhere like Freehold? I guess so. It's honestly, Freehold's kind of dull. It's got like a little bit of a downtown area, but it's very small.
Nobody's going to want to play
Red
for
Bank.
the Devils if you're in Freehold.
Yeah. I mean, it's still. I mean, like it's the central Jersey living advantages. You got the shore. Now, hockey players do want to be near the cities too. And you're still not that far. I mean, it's a slightly longer ride to get into the city. So I don't know how many players will be like, no, I'm not going to go into the city tonight. Maybe sometimes they would. You make a good point. But then with the fans, I'm of two minds. Number one, you got North Jersey fans who maybe some of them are like, if they would answer you honestly, like, oh, if I come closer to Rangers for games, I would be a Ranger fan. Maybe that's true. I don't know. If they're true fans, they probably would come, just like the true fans from Central Jersey go up there now.
Right.
And you might even get more true fans because we all know that being that close to New York, it's not a mystery why we get so many Ranger fans at our game. It's because it's right there. And so I sometimes wonder if we would end up with less of an away crowd at our home games if we were in Central Jersey, and you don't want to go South Jersey because really you are more Flyer territory there.
Then you're in Flyer.
You have the same problem that you do being up North Jersey. Maybe Central Jersey's where it's at, but where?
I mean, I would think you would have to probably slap it if you were going to stick with that Central Jersey idea. Like Red Bank would be the furthest north and like Tom's River area would be the furthest south, right? Like somewhere but I would think more Monmouth County than Ocean County just because Ocean County is a bit of a shithole.
Even if you went up north as far as like maybe Woodbridge, I know you're getting closer up there, but you're still on the side of the Driscoll Bridge. You're south of that bridge and you might have, a shot at, claiming that's Central Jersey at that point, south of the Driscoll.
You do have the Art Center in Homedale if you went that way.
What about putting it along the Parkway to some extent? I mean, that makes a certain amount of sense. Like you said, the Garden State Art Center, whatever they're calling it today. I mean, could you convert that area? That's like, what is that, exit 117 like thereabouts?
No, it's
109 is Red Bank. 109
oh, yeah, you're right. It's like 117. You're right.
Whatever.
You're right.
The point is, it's south of the 127 Turnpike area.
Right.
It's a Central Jersey thing. Being on the Parkway, it's kind of accessible from everywhere.
True.
I don't think these people who are going to the stadium now are going to be like, it's too far. I don't want to go. And I think you might pick up a lot of people who don't want to cross that Driscoll Bridge, go on the Turnpike and all that other shit. It's kind of a nice run for them. It's tempting. I remember when they were talking about going to Newark, just kind of pulling for that, but knowing it was never going to happen.
Well, before you're talking about the Hoboken thing. Now,
Oh, well, there's that too. That's
Well,
a
I thought
different
that's what you were
story.
talking about. Because
No, but yeah, you're right. Yeah,
for
right.
younger Devil fans that might not know, Dr. John McMullen, who was the owner of the Devils when he brought them here from Colorado, he had, before he sold the team, entire plans when we were still in the Meadowlands to move the team and build a stadium in Hoboken. And they actually had the plans were available for like people to see. And it was right along the riverfront. It was this huge project, and it was going to be like an 18,000 seat arena right next to the train station in Hoboken, which would have been awesome. Because Hoboken, for anybody that hasn't been there, it is a great little city. It's a lot of fun.
A lot of stuff to do there. A lot of bars, everything.
Yeah, a lot of bars, a lot of good restaurants, a lot of good shops. A lot of the players live in that area, Weehawken and Jersey City, Hoboken. That's where they live.
You hear people complaining about parking. I guess that was going to be an issue too. I don't know if that was
a big
something that
reason
stopped it or not.
That's a big reason why it didn't happen. Now, I mean, if you're going to take enough space to build out a stadium, I'm sure like you can figure something out for a parking garage. But
I mean, they did Newark, right? I mean, how many people don't park in that big garage, or at least those couple lots right nearby? Hard to imagine you couldn't do that in Hoboken.
And I don't know what
I don't know.
I think the problem with the Hoboken thing was, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. If somebody else knows the actual reason, if I'm wrong, please let us know. But was because the town is only 1 square mile. It's a very small little town.
It is.
And then if you're going to 41 nights a year, pack 20,000 people into that area, it's going to be really congested, and it could end up being a bit of a shit show. But as far as
if you take the turnpike, that 14 ABC, that whole stretch to get to Hoboken, it is a very packed shit show.
You're always in traffic. Yeah.
Always. Jersey City, Hoboken, those, as you climb up there, it gets so much more crowded than even, the Meadowlands were, or even Newark, I'm going to say. Like, I mean, the traffic that it's going around it, not destined for Newark, it thins out a little bit.
It is a good thing as far as being able to take the train. So that is, at least you don't have to drive in. You could do the same thing with Newark now, absolutely. But I always like the idea of Hoboken because it's a much cooler city, where you have Newark. I guess it makes sense that it's in Newark. I don't particularly like going up there. I prefer like
the ride's not great. No, the ride's not great. It's actually, I think, a little worse than Meadowlands for people coming from Ocean County area, in my opinion.
The Meadowlands is straight run. You get to the Parkway, you get to the Turnpike, get off at 16W, you're there. And, you always had parking. They had a huge lot around it. I mean, there was nothing else there. So, yeah, it was all parking. In Newark, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. I'm not a giant fan of going up there. They're in Newark now. They're not going anywhere, but I do like the question.
Yeah, this is an idle question. They're not moving for a while.
Where else could you possibly go that would be, close enough to get, because a big reason why these young guys like playing here and living here is because they live in Jersey City. They're a fucking 10-minute ride to the city. They have Hoboken, Jersey City, which are fun towns to go party in. And then you can hop in your car and, 45 minutes, an hour tops, and you're at the beach. I mean, and you're, so it does have a lot to offer. But for us personally, I would really like the stadium to be more central Jersey. I just think that would be awesome.
Yeah. I could see how it could work out for the team, for the state, to be in central Jersey. I think it's not insurmountable to move the players a little further from the New York City experience. I think they're still pretty close. I think it would actually work out, and I think it would never, ever happen. I just think in the end, that's where people make big money decisions. They always defer to North Jersey on these things. It's a safer bet because, it's proven that you kind of pretty much know what you're going to get. We've had a track record up in North Jersey, and there's, unknowns in Central Jersey. I think they would work out, but I bet you money people would not want to take that chance.
No, not when up in the Northern Jersey area, you're getting that overflow of New York too. So you have a lot of, you have a lot of extra money coming in.
Also concerts and things like that. You got to look at making money for the facility the whole
round,
thing. Yeah. And I would guess it maybe is more challenging to do that in Central Jersey.
Now, how about this?
Concerts, whatnot.
How about this? Since we're not getting the Devils down here, why don't we get the Comets out of Utica and move them down here?
That is a great question. I mean, first of all, I would love to have some minor league hockey we can get to. And the Devils affiliate Why not? I mean, is there a real advantage to being up there? I mean,
We've
what is the
always had
advantage to
our affiliates have
Utica
always
or
been in upstate New
Albany?
York. Yeah, why?
What are we getting out of that? Maybe it's a little easier to draw coaches and other personnel and staff. Players, I can't imagine it's a plus or minus to them to be up that area. I don't think they would care. I think they prefer to be, so much more closer to the cities. Even Central Jersey is way closer to anything
Yeah.
fun, anything at all fun.
We had Jim Dowd on the show, and he, said Utica's a shithole. Like, he's like, yeah.
I remember he said, Utica, guys, you ever been to Utica?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was talking
exactly
in the context
what he said.
of Herb Brooks being up there and why he only stayed 1 year because
Right.
fuck all to do,
So, why not build, we have the Lakewood Blue Claws. Why not take an area over there and build a 5,000, 6,000 seat arena and throw a minor league hockey team there? And if it was a Devils affiliate, even better, because they would draw. I think that they would draw. I
think I would like them closer to Parkway than Lakewood. Lakewood depends where, but if you go to that arena these days, that whole area it's got way too much traffic.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's not like it used to be in that area. So I would probably if you really try to get people in and out of that place and everything, because I've been at a Blue Claws game and it lets out and it should be a 20-minute ride to my house, but it's like 45 minutes and half of it's getting out of the first two.
It's a pain in the ass, and but if you could find something in this area, in the Central Jersey area, and put a minor league hockey club there, that would be awesome to check out.
I think it would be. It would be. I don't see what the downside is. I hope they're listening and they follow through with this great idea we've thrown their way.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully by
Garrett and V. Yeah.
By next season, we're going to Comet games in Homedale, New Jersey.
Maybe
Asbury Park. Exactly.
Asbury's a little bit right off the Parkway. I'm going to be honest. You have to take that, trek it east, and it's kind of crowded through that area. But, it would be worth it because Asbury is a cool city.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's an excellent question, Gary. Thank you so much for throwing it our way. And, hopefully that would be awesome to actually have. I actually thought they were building this huge building in Lakewood, like maybe half a mile, south of the Blue Claw Stadium.
Turns out it was for storage.
Yeah. It turned out.
Oh, really? I was just joking.
I don't know if it was storage, but if you're coming like up New Hampshire towards the stadium, and it's on the right hand side, like right after you cross over 70, and it's a huge building. I mean, like the size of a fucking 5,000 seat arena. Yeah. And at first, when it was being built, that was kind of what we thought as well before the internet and stuff. Like, are they building a fucking rink here? Like, what's going? It looked like it. It ended up that I don't know what it is. It's probably half empty and storage or whatever, but office space. But the thing is gigantic, and I thought that's what they were going to put there. Little did I know how stupid I am.
That whole New Hampshire Avenue's got two sports going, and it's a real happening place.
Yeah,
and all you need is a couple cool restaurants and a bar, but that ain't never going to happen. Anybody in this area can tell you that's not going to happen.
Asbury's a good spot to put a 5,000 seat arena. I
love it.
And then, you already have tons of bands that play the Stone Pony, that play, all these different clubs and bars out there. When Stone Pony has their summer stage, I mean, how many people you think? 2,000 they fit there, you think, during the summer stage?
You just made me realize who's going to be voting against this in the town councils. It's going to be the Stone Pony. They're going to be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
We are the only show in town. Unless they do some kind of partnership with them, where they're making some big boy money, too, from a 5,000 seat arena.
Not for nothing. The Stone Pony, other than outside, if you go to see a show in the wintertime, I mean, it's a tiny place. I mean, it's a tiny little bar. And,
it's cool. I love going to it, but it's not a
it's
not
a
an
little
arena.
shithole. Yep, no. And
maybe they would like that if they got a piece of it or something.
Yeah, because then, I mean, in the wintertime, you can have bigger shows there. But, I think we should jump on that, Dan. I think that should be our next venture. We need to start this thing up.
Have my people call their people.
I think a GoFundMe page would be a great way to start this.
Okay.
So
yeah, sure.
I would figure we have to buy the land, build the arena, buy a team.
I'll take cash or checks, either way.
What do you think? We start with like $100 million for the GoFundMe?
I think that's a good goal to start, at least breaking ground a little bit somewhere.
Yeah, so, at least we could start it, right?
Guys, get us $100 million. We're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I think we should, if we have that hopefully by the end of the hockey season, we'll be in good shape. and we
I
can
was
get
hoping
rolling.
by game 3, where we
Game
have some
3 of
plans
this year?
for. Yeah. What about our plans for that? What are we doing new this year?
Well, new this year, it's actually, we are going to start doing our live streams and things. So on Friday, a week from tomorrow, we're taping this on Thursday evening. A week from tomorrow, which is the game against the Arizona Coyotes, game 2, we will be live streaming directly after the game.
That's Friday the 13th. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
I mean, are you superstitious?
Not at all.
Okay, that's awesome. That's going to be our debut of the live stream, Friday the 13th.
I don't need it to be Friday the 13th to know that somehow, some way, the live stream will get, especially the first one, completely fucked up. But
you were worried about like technical difficulty. I was thinking like the game would be shit, or I don't know.
I wasn't even
like
thinking
you break
about
your leg on the way here or something, like, you know.
Or Jack Hughes breaks his leg. That would be even worse.
Well, let me ask you this: would you rather Jack Hughes break his leg or you break your own leg? If
Me break my own leg.
You would take the break just like that. You didn't even think about it.
Not even think about it.
You kind of need your legs to work.
I do. Right? I do, okay. But I can function. I can definitely still work. It would just be very difficult, but at least Jack is healthy and the team is going to, go on the push. That's it.
What if you had to break 2 legs to keep Jack's one leg from
Jack
getting
broken?
broken?
Jack can fucking eat shit at that point. Let him go.
Really?
Break his
I guess
leg.
you're not a real fan then.
Not at all. Well,
I was going to work my way up to having you commit suicide.
Would you break a leg over Jack?
No.
No?
No, especially a femur. That supposedly is the worst pain that you can have besides a childbirth, or I don't know what.
Right, how about
that's what everybody says.
How about this? You break your femur, or Jack destroys his leg in a horrible accident and can never play hockey again.
I really like my femur in one piece. I hate to
More
be
more than Jack.
Yeah, I mean,
really, you call yourself
a fan? I can't use his body to get around. I need to use mine.
But it's a moment in time that you will be laid up. 6 months? So in those 6 months, you hang around the house, get addicted to painkillers, go down a dark road, and probably end up dead by 50. But Jack's all right.
Now you sweeten the deal for me. Okay,
maybe they win the cup.
I can check out by 50. I might just want to do this. You wouldn't want some lingering stuff with this joint where the rest of your life, however long it is, especially if you live past 50, every time it gets, rainy weather, you think of how much you hate Jack Hughes and his 2 good legs.
Well,
for the rest of life. Why did I make this trade-off?
You go and do that, and then as soon as Jack gets a chance to bail, he's out of Jersey, and
he takes his healthy legs,
and goes win a cup in Toronto and scores on us constantly.
He becomes a New York Ranger. No, I'm sorry. There's always the possibility that an athlete that you consider your guy might turn coat on you, and I can't risk achy, breaky femurs for these players. Sorry. It is. It's Molly Cyrus, I think.
My achy, breaky femur.
Right.
I will say this. Jack Hughes will never play for the New York Rangers.
I think that's the safest bet as you can make of any player. I'll tell you that. I think it's the safest call of any NHL player to say that. But it's not 100%.
No. But I believe that Jack Hughes hates the New York Rangers as much as we do.
Oh, I think you're right, and that's probably very accurate today. But you know what? Sometimes things are – look, put it this way. When Patrick Roy won a cup with Montreal that year, do you think they thought he would ever leave the way he did?
Not the way he left. Definitely not.
So it's always possible.
Well, how about this? Did Boston ever think that Ray Bourque would ever leave? But here's the thing. I'm not saying Jack Hughes will never leave. I'm saying Jack Hughes will never play for the Rangers.
Yeah, I think he has more class than that.
Yeah.
I definitely see that as the safest bet in an NHL of any player.
I get it. Shit happens. This is also business as much as we love this. 8 years from now, 6 years from now, our conversations about this team are probably going to be very different. They're probably going to be, who are we cutting? Who are we doing? We're in salary cap hell, and we turn into the Tampa Bay Lightning, which if we pulled 2 cups out of it, I'll be more than happy.
Oh, yeah. That's Tampa Bay Lightning is a good model that you'd be more than satisfied with. It's awesome to think that we're looking at maybe aiming higher. This is sick.
Well, I'll tell you, Tampa does have a ton of problems right now, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
the trajectory.
Vasilevsky's big loss.
Yeah, he's out. Even though the kid that came in, Johansson, I believe, is the guy who's backing him up. He's I think two shutouts in a row in preseason. So, I had them getting second in the Atlantic Division. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. It depends totally how they do without Vasilevsky. I mean, he is by far their best player out there.
And he had a lot of games. Not some teams rode their goalie less than Tampa did.
Yeah, not many. I mean, what, 65, 70 starts almost?
Right. That's what I mean. He had quite a few starts, so it's going to be, it's going to be a loss that's felt. It wasn't like he was just playing, and waiting for the playoffs and just playing half the games or something.
They're saying maybe 30 games that he's out. Yeah, but that's no guarantee that he's going to be Andre Vasilevsky when he comes back. You know what I mean? Like, it might take a little while to get, but you're talking about a back injury. That's not really something that you fuck around with or come back and
it's tough to know where that's going to end up. It's possible that he loses something from it. On the other hand, I think we were talking about his age a couple shows ago, and I was actually surprised that he's as young as he is.
He's 29.
So he's still got a shot to come back without problems, but it does get away from you all of a sudden. Everything's great till it's not. I mean, great example. Speaking of Jonathan Quick, it looks like he's between the quick and the dead. His career is dead. I'm just going on this preseason. He might get a chance to show himself and show all of us wrong on that. But with the Rangers, he did not look strong in the preseason, and he definitely did not the other night against the Devils.
The Rangers need a good backup. You can't have Shesterkin play every game. Quick. I just read that they brought somebody in, I think yesterday or today, maybe another goalie. So I'm not sure. I mean, don't be shocked if they're really on the fence right now about what they're going to do with Jonathan Quick. I mean,
it drew a lot of attention. The New York Post was noticing how Quick did not look like his former self.
Is it possible this dude ends up on waivers sometimes next week? Or before next week?
I don't know what their plan is. Now, who's this guy they brought in? Because I was unaware of this.
Look, I got to check.
That's
it out.
all right. And then just some schmo from farm system? Or you mean they went out and got somebody?
I don't think they got somebody unless they picked them up on waivers. This is all about Shesterkin here.
If they're really hard up, I will play for them. One condition, I will throw every game against the Devils as if I had a chance.
I got to find it. But, last night's game, we played, it was we all screwed up. We said it was the last preseason game. We didn't realize that they have the Islanders tomorrow night. I was just getting way too excited for the start of the season, so I was rushing the preseason.
Just until we started, I thought we had a undefeated thing, and now it's only undefeated so far, so we'll see.
So far, we are 6-0. We were playing the 1-4-0 New York Rangers, who I'm sorry, I know they had most of their team out there, but if I'm a Ranger fan, I'm not feeling so great going into this season, and I'm thanking my stars that we have Shesterkin and praying to whoever it is you pray to that he doesn't get hurt. So we beat them 5-2, 21 shots for the Rangers, 19 for us. Rangers got us on hits, 26-18, but I did notice, let's talk a little bit about that. Kevin Ball was throwing his body around, and that fourth line was trying to pretty much hit anything that moves. I was really impressed with the physicality of the game, and I was actually
this looks
surprised.
Like so much more physical team than last year.
They look like a completely different team.
I know.
The Hughes Brat line is just going to be stupid this year. If they stay healthy, that team, and the sky's the limit. I can't even imagine what those numbers can be that they could put up.
It's scary. It really is scary.
And, I thought the Heischer line played, again, hard-working, just doing their thing. They're going to get theirs. They're a really tough line to play against. Meyer played, I thought, a very good game. I thought Heischer played a really good game. And I thought Holtz, he was out of position a couple of times that you come, but his skating has gotten better. I like the fact that they're protecting him. And then I'll say that we are probably in the maybe top 5 best third lines in the league.
I think that's going to make the biggest difference this season is that third line is so strong. It's better than most teams' second line and better than many teams' first line. I mean, it's
This
a
is true.
crazy good line.
That's very true. If you went up to, Anaheim right now and said, your second line is going to be Palat, Hala, and Mercer, they'd probably take it.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's a great third line. And then the fourth line, they had McLeod out there with Nosek and Lazar. And I really like Curtis Lazar's game. I like what he
yes,
brings.
yes,
Nosek has kind of seemed invisible so far.
right.
Um, I don't know exactly where, how he's going to fit in.
It
And
looks
then,
like he's trying to find his legs, but you just wonder, like, is he going to find his game to where he's a force? Because he does seem kind of inconsequential. I didn't see any glaring mistakes,
right.
so that was a plus. You look at it that way, but and it's kind of like maybe unfair. Like, did he change the whole game at any point? No.
But I do like those two veterans on that fourth line. What they
Yes.
bring, I think, is an intangible that we didn't have last year, especially when the season starts coming to an end. Things are tightening up. People are getting ready for the playoffs and then into the playoffs. I do think you're not going to get a lot of offensive production, but that's fine. You're not expecting it from the fourth line, but come playoff time, you do want them to be able to shut teams down, and you want them to be able to contribute
Right.
with the odd goal here and there. That
Right.
really does help the team.
But do
I
you
thought,
think like it's going to be a drop off as far as fourth line production compared to last year? Because I was thinking, might be.
well, I also think it depends. I mean, when Nate Bastian, is he going to be ready to play in
Yeah,
the home opener?
that's the
I
question.
don't know what they're going to. I would probably think that the starting lineup, if Bastian is healthy and ready to play, that fourth line for next Thursday, I would get McLeod, Lazar, Bastian. I would think will probably be that. If Bastian's not, I mean, I don't know, dude. Foot, I'm sure they played their main starters last night. So
Right.
are they gonna play those main starters again tomorrow against the Islanders, or is tomorrow going to be really let's get our final look at a couple of guys? I mean, I
True.
fully
Yeah.
expect Simone Nemec to be in that game. I
Right.
expect Foote to be in that game, and I expect Thompson to be in that game. I expect Graham Clark to be in that game.
And it's the
So
last shot for some of them.
yeah, and I think that they have some big decisions, like we talked about on the last show. Thompson and Foote, what are you going to
Yeah.
do? There are going to be a lot of good players from a lot of teams going on waivers over the course of the next week, and I don't feel good about the possibility of losing those two because I do think that they can definitely chip in, and they can be a part of this team this
Right.
year. So I hope that they can find a way that they keep them. And we read the article that Jonathan Bailey wrote. It was a good
Yes.
article, and
It was.
he did say with if Bastion ended up on the IR that they would have the
IR
room for it. But
for 3 weeks or whatever.
yeah, I don't know.
Not a
Then
permanent solution.
yeah, exactly. So and you are you going to move Nosek? I mean, you signed him
You
this
just went
summer.
and got him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to move him, but they do have that. That's one issue and one. I don't consider that
But
a
maybe you
problem.
should. Like if you really
Well,
like what you see out of Tice Thompson, Nolan Foote this year as well as into the future, how do you hold on to a guy that you just went and got that you don't think is panning out? It's tough though. You only gave him 6 games, 7 games
it
to
does
make that call.
seem it does seem like it's a fucking damn if you do, damn if you don't situation.
Yeah.
Luckily we are talking about 4 guys that I think everybody likes and wants on this team. It just
Right.
It's not like we're sitting here calling for the head of somebody, which would be a problem. We're
But
calling
in
for
some ways it'd be easier. Like, oh,
yeah, it
definitely
would,
this guy.
it would,
This is actually tough, man. If you had to be the guy making this call,
and
I don't know, Tom Fitzgerald. I don't know how you do it.
not to mention, like, you drafted Thompson, you traded for Foote, you have put time, money, energy, and man hours into their development. They're homegrown. It's very difficult to say goodbye to them. You believe that they have a future with this team. I've seen enough from both of those guys. Thompson mostly this preseason and Foote mostly when he was with the team for the few games last year. I don't think he's had a very memorable preseason so
Right.
far. But we know he's a good player, and he's a big guy. He can skate, he can hit, and he's got a good shot. Tice Thompson, I'm really excited to see.
Mhm.
If like I said, if the genes are anything like his brothers, man, this guy's can be a heck of a player. So
Right.
it's a tough spot. It really is. And so tomorrow night's going to be interesting. It is going to kind of be the last go around for some of these guys to really try and impress.
Yeah.
The face-offs won last night. The Rangers won 26. We won 22. Power play opportunities. Rangers had 4. We had 5. And this is where it gets sexy. Power play goals. Rangers had 1. We had 3. Right now, our power play is clicking, I believe, at close to 50%.
Which is insane. In that game at one point, until they got the 5th power play, they were 3 for 4.
Yeah.
Which is sick. Like that's not a percentage you expect to keep up or to even really attain in too many games a year.
No.
That's amazing to be 3 for 4 in your power play at any point in a game, at any point in the season. But yeah, wow, what a great power play. I just hope it continues on like that because that's a significant upgrade. Like the power play last year was sketchy, right?
It was sketchy. I think we were 19th in the league.
It clicked sometimes, other times you just couldn't. It would bring your game down.
Yeah, we would hate, and also one of our big Achilles heel on the power play was giving up shorthanded goals. We were doing it all the time. There were times we've discussed the fact. Wouldn't it be great if you can actually, decline the penalty?
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
We'll just decline it and go back to 5-on-5.
Because there were times last year I would have definitely pulled that move if it existed. For sure. Yeah. But it's a great way not to give up a shorthanded goal, which is to go out and score one pretty quickly, which is what they did 3 out of 4 times, 3 out of 5 times. Amazing.
The Edmonton Oilers power play last year was the best all time in the history of the NHL. They were clicking at I think 32%, some ridiculous number. And we know going into this season that the Edmonton Oiler power play is going to be outstanding again this year.
I'm sure.
It's Connor McDavid. Plain and simple. Him and Leon Draisaitl, probably the 2 best players. Definitely
the best duo, let's say.
Well, I'll say Connor McDavid right now is the best player on the planet.
Yeah.
I think
and then you put the 2 of them together. Is there a better duo?
And no, there's not. And Leon Draisaitl is in the top 5, top 3 maybe greatest players right now. So you're talking, it's ridiculous. And you can even make an argument that they are 1-2. At this moment right now, they're fucking good. But my question, so we know that Edmonton's power play is going to be really good. Can the Devils hang this year with the Edmonton power play? Like, with what you've seen, can they be, I'm not talking 31, 32%, but can they be maybe the second best in the league?
I think there's no way you could count them out with this preseason performance. Now, everything we're talking about, you have to temper with the word preseason because preseason doesn't mean shit. And once we start the regular season, it may totally change. Hard to see that though right now. Really is.
Sorry.
This is the most amazing preseason power play percentage that I remember them ever having.
No.
And if they were to keep up at half this rate, you would be putting them in the conversation for the best power play in the league. Definitely. And that's at half the rate they're running now. This is an unsustainable rate.
Sure.
Running close to 50% or something.
Well, last night's power play percentage was 60%. Like, you're not going to score, that's just exactly.
That's not going to remain that high. But, half of their average right now would be in the mid-20s. And that is a sick number.
Fantastic.
You're really close to that Edmonton rate of that set NHL record last year.
Yeah, I mean, if they can keep 25%, I think they would be the second best power play. Because I just think Edmonton's they're there already. What you're going to get. They're going to
just arbitrarily cutting it in half for the sake of argument.
Right.
Maybe it doesn't get cut in half. Maybe it is as good. Maybe it's better. I mean, these maybes have to be entertained right now because we haven't played the games.
And that first power play unit, I know that, they were Spalding was going on. It's a 1A and it's a 1B. We have the Hughes power play. You have the Hamilton power play. That's it. Right. The Hughes power play.
Let's not get caught up in semantics. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. The power play with Luke Hughes quarterbacking that looked, this kid is going to be so freaking good.
That goal that just dinked off the post, it was just like, ding.
What a beautiful shot. And now we talked about it a million times, but now that you're able to actually see it, Hamilton on one unit, Luke Hughes with that shot on the first unit, however it plays out. But my goodness, man, they are going to be so freaking dangerous on the power play. And
imagine you just kill a team's top line for the power play, and then they trot out another top line like
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
I mean, and now you have to change your penalty killers out, and these are the guys that, they were arguing about who's going to cover which line, because it's too hard. It's
And
too hard.
it really that is the way that you can completely annihilate teams. Is teams are going to, and then you also have to keep in mind the way that the Devil played. I mean, they played really good last night. I thought that as far as like the team defense goes, keeping down the shots, all the stuff. V didn't have a lot of difficult work. And think about this: the way that they forecheck, and the way that they possess. And the way that they just do not allow you to get the puck, and once they get into the offensive zone, it's they can hold on to it all day, all night. And if they spit it up and Jack's out there, he's just going to take it back from you. So right. I mean, it's really crazy. They can do all that. Well, when you're playing an undisciplined team, you're playing a Columbus, Montreal. What do they do in those situations? They take penalties.
Absolutely, they're gonna be in the box all night against a team this fast that drives them crazy. The speed's going to make them hook and hold. They're going to be frustrated on a visceral level and start taking penalties, retaliation, frustration penalties.
The ceiling on where this team could possibly go is ridiculous. But before we go any further, hey Dan, what app do you use to get your gambling sweat on Sundays when you're watching football?
It's DraftKings.
It is DraftKings, right? Do you know why DraftKings is so awesome right now, Dan?
Because I use it.
Because Dan uses it, and new customers, unlike Dan, because he's been using it for years, can bet $5 right now and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Dan, you throw $5 down on any games, and you can be a wiener.
I'm going to start a new account. My name will be new user.
You could do that. How about Joe Fano?
Yeah.
All new customers right now can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Yeah, like they have like a no sweat bet for on football. So if you bet $10 and you lose, you basically don't lose that $10. You can still throw it onto another bet. They have
you get a mulligan.
You get a mulligan. So football's way more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up. This is the important part, guys. Sign up with code THPN, because when you put that in, then they know that you listen to the Hockey Podcast Network, and we all do a little bit better. So it's THPN, and really
you get the good deal that way.
If we made 1 cent off of this thing, we'd be doing better. Crown is yours. So that's the THPN is the key. Don't forget that. DraftKings.com/THPN. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner, Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Whew. I love doing them.
Yeah,
so much fun.
It's good. You're doing great at them too. I got to tell you.
Thanks.
There's no way I could get all that out.
Well, you have to read, and I know that's
I can't
a struggle
do that.
for you. Exactly.
Yeah, I try to sound it out, but it's hard.
Be like football. Today, Junior.
Exactly. Reading problem? Call 867-5309.
That's my girlfriend's number.
Yeah.
Jenny.
I tried to write that down one day just to see if I could write it down, keep up with you. I did pretty good until I got to the CCP, and then I'm like, isn't that the Soviet Union? The CCCP?
That's right. And then you just lost track.
How do I get in touch with them? I thought they closed up shop. And
that's my favorite part. It's fun to say. ccpg.org.
Oh.
We both blocked 9 shots last night. The Rangers had 3 takeaways. We had 8. Like I said, Jack, and these guys, they're just stripping you from the puck and they're turning around the other way. And, if you don't have a concise one pass out of that neutral zone, the Devils are taking that puck from you. Very rarely it's going to get in deep. And we had 5 giveaways. They had 4. Other than that, 14,000 people in capacity last night. 85% of that building was filled for a preseason game against the Rangers. That's pretty
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, definitely.
This team, though, it's really scary, and I'm really excited about seeing this team during the regular season because, like you said, man, that power play can be crazy. Teams are going to have to play a little bit more, careful. Maybe they're not as loose because they're worried about, hey, shit, last time we played them, they scored 3 power play goals on us.
Yes.
So who are you most excited to see this year other than anyone on the Devils? Is there any player, anybody that you just, you're
just out there around the league?
Yeah, a team or a player that you're just really excited to check out?
Well, I think like everybody, I'm always keeping one eye on the superstars like McDavid. We were just talking about him. What is he going to do this year? He's just amazing. Some of the guys who had a great rookie season last year from Dallas, Robertson. I really liked him a lot. I don't know. No one person in my mind. How about you?
Well, Connor Bedard, I'm definitely on.
How could I forget that? Right, he's been having a great preseason, and he looks so ready to just run with it. He's not going to have much adjustment time. Am I wrong for saying that?
I don't think
just looks like he knows exactly what to do.
Yeah, I don't think that this guy is going to have any problems in the NHL. Yeah. I can see him do 70 to 80 points, and that would be fantastic on account that he's playing on a really, really bad team. I've heard people saying he'll have 100 points. I don't know if you get 100 points playing with those guys in Chicago right now. But maybe
if he scores a lot of shorthanded goals, because they're going to be, like you were saying, they're going to be a frustrated team. They're going to be in the box a lot. That's going to hurt his ability to score if they're on a penalty kill a lot.
That's true.
But he is amazing. He looks so ready. He looks like maybe he could have played in this league at 15.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
He's just really so ready.
Yeah, he really does. And so he opens up. That's going to be a fun game next Tuesday. I think that's Tuesday night is Pittsburgh Blackhawks. So we could see Sydney against Bedard. So I like, I'll check out Chicago. Like anytime that, if I'm getting ready for work and I have the TV on and On the Fly is on, up in the right hand corner, they tell you what's coming up. Like if I see Edmonton's coming up soon, or like Dallas or Colorado or Boston, I definitely will stop to watch them to see where they are.
How do you think they're going to package this game? They're going to be like Sid meet the kid kind of thing? What would you do if you were putting together a TV package as these guys are doing? They would do something a little douchey. Let's be honest, right?
I know.
National games. They're maybe breaking out some kind of like catchphrase almost for the game.
I hope they don't do a catchphrase, but I can definitely see some, video package about, I know it's not like a master and apprentice type of thing. I'm not saying that. Like I'm saying like
they chose this game for a reason, right? It's kind of like
the old guard and the new guard, and they'll probably do some really stupid thing that shows them both at the end, with a stupid smile on their face. And I don't know. I'm not I don't like all the production of hockey. I don't like watching intermissions. I don't like
the fake invented drama. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what's kind of silly sometimes. But it does show up on TV, the national games all the time. I can see them producing some kind of bullshit.
That's going to be a fun game.
Because
it really will. That will be fun to see. I think Sidney Crosby was Bedard's idol. That's going to be awesome.
Yes.
I think Connor McDavid is just going to have another ridiculous year, so that's going to be fun to watch. I think. Sure. I know we're going to talk more about, on the next show, we're going to do our picks for like the Final Four and who we think is going to actually make it. I do have a team out west that I haven't heard anybody pick, but I'm kind of checking them out, and I'm thinking, a year earlier, I'll tell you right now who it is, but a year earlier, they were a really good team, and they have a lot of those pieces again, and I'm going to say that the Western Conference Final, one of those teams that are going to be there is going to be the Calgary Flames. Nobody's talking about Calgary. I like that team.
This time last year, everybody's talking about what a shit show it was for Calgary that they lost Johnny Gaudreau and a couple other big names.
That was the big one.
Yeah, it's huge. And, and since then, they did lose to Foley, so it's kind of a bold statement now after losing to Foley.
Yeah.
Why are you so high on them? I'm just curious.
I think that last year they had a lot of problems with Sutter. I think a lot of these guys gave up. I think that Markstrom is going to bounce back and be one of the best goalies again. I look at Calgary and they play, Edmonton really tough, and they play, all the top teams, the Kings and the Avalanche and the Stars. They play them tough, and I just
they have the scoring though. Because they lost a lot of scoring over the last 2 years. Where is their scoring coming from? Did they add anybody new? Because I'm actually unaware.
Well, I mean, they got when they got the Jonathan Huberdeau from Florida, who had a really off year last year. I think Jonathan Huberdeau can score a lot of goals.
That's legit. That could happen.
I think that Igor Sharangovich is going to do well.
Oh yeah, how could I forget it? Yeah, Igor there. You know what? I really hope he does. He was not reaching his potential with New Jersey anymore. We saw it all last season. But I don't think anybody ever didn't think he had a great potential at one point. If he was to reach it now, I'd be so happy for him.
Elias Lindholm, is going to, I think, have a great year. They're young, and I like them. And I think that they're going to really bounce back. And they missed the playoffs by 1 point last year, even without those guys, and with Huberdeau having an off year. And I think Huberdeau gets back to where he needs to be. They have a new coach. They have a new kind of philosophy. I just like them to play upset spoiler. I mean, listen, by Thanksgiving, they might be out of Florida.
But they could get in and be like Florida was in the East Coast last year.
Yeah.
That team that nobody really saw coming, works hard, and has a great identity, and hits on all cylinders right for the playoffs.
Yes. I can see that being Calgary.
Not crazy.
And I'll tell you, this Eastern Conference is going to be crazy now that Tampa Bay's out. Because, I mean, going into this, I think it's safe to say that before the injury, right, we had in the Atlantic Division, if you ask most people the three, right, they'd tell you, okay, Toronto's going to win it, and Tampa's going to come in second. And then, maybe Florida, maybe Buffalo, maybe Boston takes that third spot. And you really, kind of there is that bit. Now with Tampa being hurt, with Toronto, I think Toronto has such a clear path right now to winning that division. I don't even know if it's going to be close. I don't know if anybody can keep with them.
No, not at this point. You can't see that.
No, and so I think that from after Toronto, that Atlantic Division is going to be a ton of fun. That's going to be awesome to watch. Because I think those guys, it's a lot of good teams there. So I'm really looking forward. Actually, just everything. I can just keep going about. I'm looking forward to absolutely everything about this hockey season. I love
definitely.
Not
There's
knowing
a lot
what's going to happen.
Dog fighting that's going to happen for positions around the league.
What's Boston going to look like? Like, I'm dying to see what they look like this year.
This kind of has been like a very tumultuous year to playoffs into an off season. Like, it's a big shuffling, right?
Yeah.
We don't. Some teams that have been rising continue to rise, put the Devils in that category. But there has been a lot of upsets of the old guard teams.
Yeah, and can you
no longer the old guard, the new guys coming up, Buffalo, etc. These guys are exciting to look forward to them making that next step. So a lot of change.
Yeah, and can anybody? I haven't heard anybody that can honestly sit there and tell you that they have a really good idea who's going to win the Stanley Cup this year. It's crazy. Like, I've never gone into a season that it was seriously this close. There's usually one to maybe two teams that are just above that you just know the Kansas City Chiefs of the NFL. They're just a little bit better than everybody else. It's really difficult to look at a lot of these teams. You have a lot of these upper league teams.
It's not just the top spot, too. I think if you ask most fans to pick the top 10 in the league, that's hard enough. That's going to look like more varied than usual. I think year to year, most people have a top 10 list that looks pretty similar to their other fans out there. They're going to argue about a couple of them, but they're mostly going to have a very similar list. This year, I don't blame people from having 10 totally different teams from each other.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of variation out there.
I mean, like, we know Toronto, like we said, Toronto is going to run away with that division. But at the same time, I think that dogfight below them is going to be crazy. And Toronto is going to, I don't think, they're up there with the Carolinas. And, what are they going to do come playoff time? There are the teams that you said, are going to make the playoffs too. Like, Toronto's in, Carolina's in, Colorado and Las Vegas and Edmonton, they're all in. So what are they going to do? Is this the year for Edmonton? Does Connor McDavid finally get a cup? I mean, really, one of the most
Toronto finally broke the first round curse.
Right.
Do they go further this year?
Exactly.
I mean, you
Will
have
we
to
actually have
entertain that
an
possibility.
all-Canadian final, right? Toronto, Edmonton.
Right? Canadians can dream. That is not a complete out of this world long shot at this point. It's
because they
possible.
kind of deserve it. Yeah, as much as of course, I want to see the Devils win.
Sure. This always comes up. They're always too polite to make a giant deal about it, especially in front of the Americans. But it's a national shame. Let's face it, that they can't get a Canadian Stanley Cup Finals, or even just with any kind of consistency.
Why would they blame the Americans just
cup.
Because why would they blame because of the competition? I mean, because they can still go out and run their team the same as an American team.
Well, they have some disadvantages, I think they would say. I've heard this argument that with the players want to play in some places that are more tax friendly than some of their cities.
Okay.
And we have a lot of them here in the United States. And B, maybe it isn't butt ass cold. And
weather
players
does
might
have a
want
lot
to play
to
in
do
Phoenix
with it.
and Miami and stuff like that. That's one thing that's going against the Canadians.
But it's also crazy that those warm weather teams don't always, they're not always in there either. Like you would think the best players would always be down there, Like why don't all the best players just play for Arizona? It's like the nicest place to play.
But if you're Canadian and you go, Vegas has been to the finals twice and won the cup once.
Yeah.
And this is their third year.
Exactly.
This sucks. It sucks to be an original six Canadian team. And it sucks to be a Canadian team in general when this is what happens, in our league.
You're right.
I can see how, with a little bit of national chip on your shoulder, you could be bitching about it a little bit if you're a Canadian.
Yeah,
I don't ever hear them bitch. I'm not saying they do, but I think that it's got to be something going on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Of course that burns their ass. But then again, as a player, do I want to go play in Nevada where there's no state tax and the weather doesn't get below, 80 degrees? There's beautiful women, casinos everywhere, mountains. It's a beautiful area. Or do I want to go play in Calgary where,
No, the tax thing is huge. We're talking about gigantic contracts. And to be honest, here in New Jersey, we kind of suffer from that too a little bit. There was talk of, that's why maybe some players who went to maybe that was a factor. If you were Kachuk, and you were ever thinking about the Devils,
maybe was that's the factor.
Yeah, it was like, hey, you know what? I would like to keep another $1 million in my pocket with the tax differences or whatever it happens to be. I'm not an accountant, and I won't play one on the podcast, but I know it's a factor if people talk about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you. But there's a lot of storylines going on this year that I am super psyched about.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a wild one. We looked so forward to last season. We were talking about it as we started coming up with the show, throughout the summer, how crazy good this team could be. And I feel like that goes double this season. And I would have told you last year, well, you might feel very strongly that this is a good team. If everything goes right, that's predictable. But there's no way you're going to feel twice as excited about next year. Win, lose, or draw, it's going to be a known quantity. No, they are different in so many positive ways that I'm even more excited to see this season unfurl.
Even years after we won cups and so after some of our great years, I've never been this excited to start a season. It's just what this team, the possibility of what this team could do this year is going to be a heck of a lot of fun to watch.
All right, quick question. If you are got to pick one guy to say, okay, it doesn't really work this way. We know we're looking at all the parts, making decisions for the whole team. But who won the training camp? Who is your training camp winner? Who had the best training camp? And you can define that however you want.
Can we call him Mr. Newark?
Mr. Newark.
Comes out of training camp. They become Mr. Newark.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought I was supposed to guess somebody to call him Mr. Newark.
No.
This could be the title.
Like this will be the title. Like every year we'll give you a Mr. Newark. The best person coming out of training camp. Does there have to be any criteria?
No. Are you envisioning an award like an Oscar, like Mr. Newark?
Well, it's a whole show. It's a whole entire award show.
A Mr. Newark Award.
Billy Crystal's hosting.
Oh, that's great to see him come out again. I haven't seen Billy Crystal in years.
He's coming out for this.
The other day I was wondering, is Billy Crystal dead? Because I haven't seen him in years now.
You seriously didn't wonder that the other day?
I did.
Because it's exactly why I brought it up. Because the other day I was at work and he popped in my head and I thought, is he dead?
Right, because this is a long time to go without Billy Crystal in your life.
He's not dead.
Good. That's good news. I would like to see him again.
But back to it. Who do I think?
Only as Miracle Max. And that's the only way I want to ever see him appear again.
What's Miracle Max?
Miracle Max.
Why do I not know what that is?
The Princess Bride, dude.
Oh, that was his name, huh?
Miracle Max, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that name.
Yeah, he's only mostly dead. Mostly dead.
I mean, Brat is the obvious answer, right? 5 goals.
Humpadink. Remember? Brat. Yeah, sorry. Brat won the preseason. He's Mr. Newark.
I mean, I'd like to think somebody who kind of came out of nowhere, but I do want to touch on something real quick before we finish up the show, because there is kind of one glaring thing right now with the Devils, and I'll go back to who I think had the best training camp. I would say probably Brat right now, but we do have this open spot right now on the 6th defensive spot.
Right.
And I don't think Lindy Ruff basically has said it's a competition now. And so it's a competition between, Colin Miller and Nemec and Brendan Smith. I mean, you got two spots, because Brendan Smith will probably make the team, right? I mean, so who's that other? What do you think they're going to do? I mean, if Nemec really does seem like he has a legit shot to make this team, from what coaching is saying, which is I think a little crazy.
I know he doesn't look. I feel like we're getting spoiled by Luke Hughes, because he steps in and he's ready, he's there. You can't expect that from such a young defenseman with regularity, and I feel like Nemec isn't fully cooked 100%. But I also think that it might be doable where he can grow and learn on the fly, because and I think we were talking with Bill from Trap Podcast the other day. He was so high on him and pointed out what great vision.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. And so and he's absolutely right. He does have that vision. He's got so much upside that, boy, if you could let him develop without burning your ass in games, the upside for him is so good that I think I would give him some games early on to prove that he can do regular season NHL duties without, hurting his team, because his upside is very, very high.
Oh, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I agree that with what you're saying, his upside's huge. I just don't know if I would put him in to start the season. But it does then lead also to a problem.
Miller is a better choice.
I mean, I know he hasn't.
Choice, right?
I know he hasn't played great. But first of all, you traded for him. So you went out and got this guy. You brought him in. He's a veteran guy. He's kind of learning the system. He does look a little lost sometimes, but I think a veteran guy like that, he'll figure it out
quicker, right?
I think so. And I just
have more of a longer arc towards getting where he's going.
Exactly. And I love everything that Nemec brings. And I think I've said it before on the show. I still stand by it. I don't think he should start with the team, but I do think that he deserves to be brought up and given a legit look at sometime in this year. But if you're
making it, Miller starts and he gets, unless he's got problems, you're going to maybe give him the nod over Nemec.
I would, and just put Nemec back down in Albany, like you said, or Utica. He's not fully cooked yet. I just think he needs to work a little bit more on his defensive game. And, I just think right now our defense looks really good, and I don't want to have a hole in it. And and maybe Miller will be a hole, and Nemec is the answer. I just think right now I'd feel a little bit safer having the veteran in there. That's all.
It's wise. I mean, what you're saying is, I think, probably the safer call to make. Let's face it, it is an overall young defense, and aside from goaltending, it's the one area you worry about a little bit. But goaltending, I see Akira Schmidt is having a big upside, but it's an unknown. The defense is young, so while the preseasons look good, I think there's going to be some growing pains along there. Maybe giving that a little bit more steadier veteran presence that Miller is going to give you compared to Nemec is a good way to at least be the default until you maybe find it that the defense. It's like almost either way. If Miller's not working out, let's put Nemec in, and if he is working out, but he's not doing that, spectacularly, but the defense is overall keeping you in games. Now you can afford to work Nemec in for some games.
Yeah, right.
First quarter, first half of the season.
Well, I think tomorrow they should both be in the lineup, so at least maybe they'll we'll look for that for their final. So I'll watch the game, and maybe one of them will kind of show up and make the decision a little easier. But right now, I would send Nemec back down, and I would keep Miller on a little bit of a short leash. He's a veteran, though. He should be able to pick it up. That's all. That's all.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Who do you think had the best training camp so far before we wrap it up?
I'm going with Kevin Ball. He's shown so much growth. He looks amazing. Remember last year, even as we first entered the playoffs, there was so many question marks around him. If you would have said, is he going to be, a regular member of the defense next year? Maybe, hope so. He's got a lot of size. I love it. When they brought him on last year, it was like, oh no, I wanted this guy to be so good. I remember saying literally those words after a few of his games, like, oh man, I don't know. I really hope he can get it together. Boy, has he turned it around. He looks like a veteran right now. And he looks like he knows what he's doing. He's bringing everything they always wanted, that size, that physicality, and he can skate so much better than he was doing last year. I mean, it's amazing. Whatever work he's done in the offseason, he's been able to bring his game up and elevate it. That's why I say, like, maybe he has the most dramatically improved preseason, and then also like what it brings to the team when they really need it. That's huge. That's why I'll give him the win on the preseason. It's actually not an easy thing to do because there's a lot of guys who had a great preseason.
Yeah, definitely. Look at the numbers. It's been a great preseason all around, and Ball is probably, you're right, the one that's had the most, at least like with your own eyes. I mean, you can see it. I mean, it was like it's night and day from where he was to where he is now. And having a dude that has picked it up that quick with those assets, dude, his size is fucking.
The reach,
he's a bull.
the size, absolutely.
So yeah, he's going to be huge for this team. So
that one hit he threw. Who was that on?
Who the hell did he hit? Was it Truba?
No, it was.
It was the other one. What the shit was his name?
Lindgren.
Yeah,
he basically destroyed Lindgren. That was an amazing hit, and it was like, wow, he threw some hits last year. Nothing like that.
Yeah,
that was like
that's what we want to see.
Hit.
That's what we want to see.
When he has that frame and he hits anybody, it's significant. But that was a killer hit, and I'm like, wow, if this is a look of things to come, this team got way more dangerous to play against.
They did,
and so that was awesome.
It is going to be a lot of fun. So I think we're going to wrap it up for the evening. So, guys, thank you so much for checking us out. And wherever you're listening to us, give us a positive review, 5-star rating, thumbs up. Hit us up, unclepuckers@gmail.com. Check out our YouTube channel. For Dan, I'm Chris. We're the Puckers. We'll see you when we see you.
Puckers out.
Let's go, Devils.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!